How are you, Tom? And it's a Monday, right? And you don't have
It's
a bad
Monday.
case. You don't have a bad case of the Mondays.
Yeah, I just go golfing if I'm too bored or upset that it's Monday.
Yeah. Okay. So our topic today is beyond basic coverage, how supplemental insurance elevates employee benefits. And first question I have for you is why is supplemental insurance essential even if a company already provides standard health coverage?
Well, for a lot of companies, they have their employees paying so much out of pocket because their health plans are awful because of the rates going up. Their solution was to keep raising the deductibles and making the employees pay more and more. So what supplemental insurance does is there's programs that can cover hospitalizations, surgeries, accidents, dental, vision, uh, critical illnesses, where they supplemental carrier pays you, and there's your money to pay for the claims, and their cost is much less than health insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see specifically enough that other expenses eat up healthcare. In a lot of ways, they're paying a lot for this and they're not benefiting at all.
Well, it's the man and the lady in the mirror that owns the companies that is letting the employees down because there's really no excuse why they aren't offering better benefits.
What specific types of health scenarios or procedures typically trigger the need for supplemental coverage?
The biggest one to me is critical illness or cancer policies. So if something happens to you and you're diagnosed with cancer, and say you want to go to Germany or some other country that has new radical treatments, there's your money that you get for that because they're paying based off of diseases and what's being done, and they cover experimental treatment
Really?
built.
So that's an interesting thing. How do you at ClaimLinks are able to develop that for a company?
What I like doing is giving each employee a benefit bank. So as an employer, I give each one of my employees $40. They can buy whatever supplemental plan they want to buy.
And those are available at ClaimLinks, those supplemental plans?
Oh yeah, we have plenty of vendors that have those plans. It's the other thing is if they want more than 40, they're paying for it, and most of the time these products are pre-taxed. So you're lowering the employer's payroll. So my question always to the HR department is, why are you preventing your employees from buying supplemental insurance? It makes zero sense not to allow them to do it because it helps pay less in taxes for the owner, and the employees receive benefits tax free because they're getting better underwriting on these plans. Some are guaranteed issue because of the company they work for. They give out generous underwriting to groups.
Can you explain exactly what ancillary benefits are and how they differ from traditional health insurance?
Yeah, there's holes in them, so they're specific. Like if you have a cancer plan or a heart plan, and you get in an accident, they don't cover that. Where health insurance encompasses at some point everything. So you can pick and choose some of these plans. So if you have young kids, an accident plan makes a lot of sense. So the kids' stitches and those things, even though you're meeting your deductible on the other end, you're being paid to pay for it. It's a good buy.
Interesting that you look at these things are a lot of times companies aren't HR is not provide letting them about those things. And you're educating people in some ways, Tom, to say, hey, you got to look at what your expenses are every year for healthcare. The individual does for sure, right? To say,
Yeah, I
do I
mean,
need these? Yeah.
you literally, as a business owner, I mean, I hear all these excuses why they don't allow them to buy like short-term disability or accident or these plans because they're incentivized not to come back to work. And I'm like, it could be a matter of them paying for their mortgage or car. Because they have no income because they can't work because he broke his ankle and he works in the shop, right? There's your money. I mean, it's just it's quite frankly, it's incompetence at the HR level. Why these plans aren't put in. Purely incompetence. I can't. That there is no logical reason why you wouldn't allow somebody to better themselves other than you're too lazy to pay a bill.
How does ClaimLink's simple option solution specifically create opportunities and budgets for supplemental insurance?
We're saving so much money, we show the owner, why don't you give each employee a $40 benefit bank or a 50 or 20 and let them buy whatever plan they want. Don't just buy dental and vision for them. Just say that we'll give you a bank, and if you want to buy that, great. But if you want to buy an accident or a cancer or short-term disability, I mean, the employers all should be purchasing at the very least long-term disability or can't speak long-term disability and group life. At the very least. And short-term disability, that covers maternities, it covers a lot of things. So now some of the states, such as Massachusetts and some of the other blue states, give in their payroll taxes, they're providing short-term disability for everybody.
That's why contacting claim links is the way to do it because there's not a one size fits all with claim links. And I think that's key for sure.
But
Can
it's
you
not
share?
like Japan, one of the biggest Aflac's that's one of the biggest nations. Everyone buys those kind of plans in Japan.
Mhm. Could you share a real world example or case study where supplemental insurance significantly benefited employees?
I had a friend actually of mine. I didn't actually sell him the plan, but he had a critical illness plan, and unfortunately, he got colon cancer at 48. He got a $75,000 check that allowed him not to have to work for those 6 months that he was going under treatment.
That's great. And see, that's the supplemental insurance that a lot of people don't go. And then they have to pick and choose. And they're like, I'm not going to pay that extra money because we know expenses are so expensive these days. Some people just can't even afford an extra $40, $50 a month. So when the company gives it to you, they're more likely to say, yes, I'm going to do it.
Well, the problem is the person's who's telling them that she feels it's a ripoff is usually the HR director or office manager who's eating 10 bonbons an hour and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day and wonders what bar they're going to go to that night.
Okay. How can companies leverage supplemental insurance options to enhance employee retention and recruitment?
If you're offering them a benefit bank, how many employers do that? Very few. So you're telling them, hey, not only do we provide you health insurance, we allow you to choose. And you can cover a lot of things.
When you talk about a financial perspective, when it comes to supplemental insurance plans, they do offer additional tax advantages for businesses as well, right?
If you're paying it with pre-tax dollars, the companies match and FICA and FUTA and Social Security, and they don't have to, so they save roughly 8% on payroll tax.
Okay. And the best place to go is claimlinks.com right now today. Schedule a call with Tom or his team.
Absolutely.
And I just think that what we learned today that was very interesting, if I'm going to summarize, is ultimately forgetting about supplemental insurance. Individuals that are paying out of the pocket as their own entity see this, and then when they look at Aflac or different other companies and they say, "No, thank you. That's extra money. That's not gonna happen to me." Instead of the education that ClaimLinks provides. I'm sure when you're going through this process, you're talking about those supplemental insurance and how that, hey, we don't cover dental or vision. Sorry, we adding it as a supplemental seems like it's going to save a lot more money for the company and the business as well. I mean, and the in person as well from spending so much
Well,
money.
here's the way you gotta look at it. I had, kids I golf with, I asked them, I told them to make sure they get a short-term disability plan or an accident plan or both. And I said to them, I go, okay, if something happened to you tonight and you can't work, how long can you pay your bills for?
Not long at all because they don't have an emergency fund.
Mm, yeah. And Susie or Jimmy, the HR or the office manager, is preventing them from getting logical plans because they're too lazy.
Mhm. All right. Claimlinks.com. Appreciate it, Tom.